Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Open eCry market commentary for the week of May 13th. My name is Toby Gennaro from Trade with Precision, and just coming to you this week with the market outlook. Taking a look here at the S&P 500, looking at the ES futures, and on the monthly chart, we still have another 2 weeks left in the month of May, but as you can see, just another nice run up, breaking out to new highs in the month. Had a nice run up last week. In the U.S. equities markets, moving over to the weekly chart, we can see you got all the moving averages fanning out still. And we have a little bit of overextension from the moving averages. As we move down to the daily chart, things are looking pretty strong. And we've got a nice level here at 1594. If we were to get a pullback, more than likely that would be a lot of buy orders accumulating in there. And we'd be right back into the middle of the daily buy zone between that 10 and 20 period moving average. But as we move down to some of the lower time frames, we're still getting some bullish candles setting up right in the buy zone on the 480 chart. And if we actually have a small bullish candle right there, if we're actually looking to get a break of the high, which would be 1626.25, if we get a break of that high, we might be looking to go back up to that 1632 level before we potentially make that pullback on the daily chart. But overall, things are looking pretty bullish here on U.S. equities. As we look at the 240-minute chart, don't really have any divergence there. We've got we don't really have any divergence there at all. We don't have a flat level there really. Well, sort of do have kind of a flat level there with just one kind of touch up through that. But for the most part, going down to the 120-minute chart, it just looks like we're doing a sideways consolidation to move higher. So things are looking pretty bullish here for the S&P 500 and for the ES futures. So I'd be looking for a break on the 480 chart, and then looking at that some of these small bullish candles here on the 240-minute chart, and looking for a break of the high of that level at 1626 to move back up to potentially that 1632 level, or putting in a new high. So I'd be looking out for some divergence. We do have some divergence here on the 60-minute chart that goes back a ways, that's playing out. So you want to take a look at that and be aware of that. And on the lower time frames, when you start to get some of that divergence setting up, just signals us to the fact that there's probably going to be a pullback somewhere in the near term. But for right now, things are looking pretty strong, and I'd just be looking to get along the pullbacks wherever we can get some of these trend flow setups. And you'll know those setups based on what we're teaching in the advanced strategy course in terms of what some of the technical parameters are that we're looking for. So if you don't know that, check the website and take a look for the advanced course and get a better understanding of how to have some of these trade setups in your bag. And moving over to the small cap stocks on the Russell 2000 contract, we're looking at actually looking at last month. We talked a little bit about this. Very nice, very strong bullish candle there. Didn't quite get a pullback to this level back within the buy zone, but there's obviously that solid level there right around that 860 we've been talking about for some time. But got a nice bullish candle set up there. Just broke the high of that candle here in the month of May, and it looks like we're pushing higher again as we look at the weekly chart. That pullback that we just had a couple of weeks ago, right back in the buy zone, got a break at the high, and we're back off to the races again. So things looking very bullish here on some of the highest time frames. Looking at the daily chart, we have that nice level in there right around 951. If we were going to get a pullback off of this level, you're looking for probably a lot of buy orders to be accumulating right around this 951 level. We had a number of touches there before that broke, so that should be a pretty solid level that will put us at least within and around that buy zone of the 10-20 period moving average. And looking at the 480 contract, we are getting some small candles on this pullback to the 10 period. Break of that high on the 480 chart would be 971.40. We might be moving back up to the high here of that 974 level, possibly before we get this pullback, maybe on the daily chart. So we move down to some of the lower time frames. The 240, we do have. Let's see, we got a higher high right here on the 240, and we actually have a lower low getting set up on the MACD and the RSI. So in strong trending markets, they can diverge for a while, but as we start to move across here, we've got another higher high here, and we have, actually we've got a higher high here and a lower high on the MACD, lower high on the RSI, or an equal high, and then we've got another high here, and we're continuing to trend lower on the MACD and on the RSI. And as we move down to some of the lower times, like the 60-minute, we can clearly see the higher highs that are being made here, and then the lower highs that continue to be made on both the MACD and the RSI. So things are looking like we might get a little bit of a pullback in the near term on some of these smaller time frames, which might just signal us to possibly a pullback to this 951 level on the daily chart. And then that would put us right back in the buy zone, looking to get long at that level to move back up again. So things looking pretty bullish on the Russell contract, the Russell 2000. Just looking for a small pullback here, maybe on the daily chart before we get that next move to the next new high. And moving on, looking at the foreign currency pair here, the Euro USD. Looking at the really a lot of sideways action here on the monthly chart, going all the way back to 2009, and we've had similar touches on those highs up here around that 150 level. But we've put actually a lower high, lower low, lower high, and basically almost an equal low down here. So the trend has been, for the most part, sideways to down. We look at the weekly chart, and we have pretty much a nice rejection candle right there, and then a second bearish candle right there. I'd be looking for the break of that weekly chart right here on the low, which would be 129.3. If we can get a break at that level, that 130 level has been a very solid support and resistance level right there. So below 130, I'd be looking bearish. Above 130, I'd be looking bullish. But it looks like if we get a break of that weekly candle this week below that 129 level, we could be moving lower to potentially test some of these other lows down here around 126, 127, somewhere around there. As we look at the daily chart, we can see that we have the daily chart has been in a downturn. We just got to bounce off of that, and it looks like it might be rolling over. It's just got to get through this level right down here. If we get a break of that level down there, then we could be looking at this next level right here. So we might have the 480 charts looking for potentially maybe a pullback into the moving averages. Moving averages look to be rolling over. If we get that pullback, it'll be met with some resistance, probably right around this 130 level again. And if we bounce down off of that, then we're looking to go lower. So we move down to some of the other time frames. Yeah, a little bounce off of this level would put us right back in the sell zone on the 240. We're already right back in the sell zone on the 120, so we'd just be looking for some bearish candles here on some of these time frames, and then pairing that up with this level here on the daily chart at 130, and that probably gives good indication and a setup for on the trend flow trade strategy for a move lower on the Euro USD. So things looking a little bit bearish there overall, and looking for a potential setup on the trend flow trade setup on some of these time frames on the daily chart and lower. So there's the outlook for the week on some of the U.S. indices and a foreign currency pair. I would like to thank you for watching the OpenECRI market commentary for the week of May 13th, and we do look forward to speaking to you next week on the Market Update.